The crack of the bat echoed like a gunshot through the humid Texas night, and that's when I saw him again. Leaning against the chain-link fence, his silhouette sharp against the floodlights, eyes locked on me like I was the only player on the field. Sweat stung my eyes as I sprinted for the foul ball, my cleats tearing up the warning track, but my mind wasn't on the game. It was on him, the stranger who'd become my shadow, showing up uninvited, week after week, without a word. I fielded the ball clean, fired it back to first for the out, but as the crowd erupted, I felt his gaze like a promise or a threat, and wondered if tonight, finally, he'd shatter the silence that had me unraveling at the seams. It started innocently enough, or at least that's what I told myself in the quiet hours before dawn, when the ache in my pitching arm kept me awake. I was Jake Harlan, 22, junior shortstop for the University of Texas Longhorns, chasing a dream that felt more like a noose some days. The scouts in the stands, the pressure from coach to man up and deliver, the weight of being the first in my family to even sniff a college scholarship. Baseball was my religion, the diamond my confessional, where I could bury the parts of myself I wasn't ready to face. The confusion that twisted in my gut during locker room banter, the way my pulse quickened not for the cheerleaders but for the solid line of a teammate's jaw under the brim of his cap. That first game, back in early March, the air thick with the promise of spring, and the sting of defeat already hanging over us after a brutal loss to Oklahoma. I didn't notice him at all. We were down 5-2 in the ninth, bases loaded, 2 outs, and I was up, choking on a curveball that painted the black. Strike 3. The boos rained down from the stands like Confederate grape shot. Darrell K. Royal Stadium wasn't kind to failures, and I trudged back to the dugout, helmet tucked under my arm, feeling smaller than the infield dirt under my nails. But the next week, against Baylor, there he was. Not in the sea of burnt orange, not with the rowdy frat packs pounding cheap beers, but off to the side, near the outfield bleachers, alone. Tall, maybe 6'2", with that effortless slouch of someone who didn't need to prove a damn thing. Dark hair tousled like he'd just rolled out of bed after a bender, wearing a faded Astros cap pulled low, Trader colors in Longhorn country, and a gray hoodie that swallowed his frame. He wasn't cheering, wasn't heckling, just watching. Me specifically. I felt it during warm-ups, that prickle on the back of my neck, like when you're a kid and swear the boogeyman's breath is hot on your ear. I shook it off, focused on the double play that won us the game in extras. But after, in the locker room haze of Gatorade showers and half-hearted high-fives, my buddy Ramirez nudged me. "Yo, Jake, you got a fanboy out there. Saw him eyeing you like you're the last rib at Franklin's." I laughed it off, called him a dumbass. But that night, scrolling through grainy game highlights on my phone in the dim glow of my dorm room, I couldn't stop wondering, who the hell was he? He came back for the midweek against UTSA, and the series opener with A&M. By the fourth game, it was a pattern, etched into my routine like the calluses on my palms. I'd scan the fence line during batting practice, spot that Astros cap bobbing among the stragglers, and something in my chest would loosen or tighten, I couldn't tell which. Coach noticed too, ribbing me during film sessions. "Harlan, you pitchin' to the batter or daydreamin' about that ghost in the stands?" The guys howled, but I forced a grin, muttering about superstition, like he was my lucky charm. Luck? Hell, we were 7-2 since he started appearing, and I'd gone 12 for 18 at the plate, snatching grounders like they were mine to keep. Coincidence, sure. But late nights, when the campus quieted and the ache of unspoken wants clawed at me, I'd replay the glimpses. The way he'd tilt his head when I connected on a line drive, the faint smile ghosting his lips when I stole second unchallenged. It wasn't creepy, not really, just insistent, like a song stuck in your head you can't shake. One humid Friday in April, after we'd clawed a 4-3 win from the Aggies in a game that felt like wrestling a greased pig, I couldn't take it anymore. The adrenaline crash hit hard in the parking lot, keys jingling in my hand as I headed for my beat-up F-150, the lot emptying out under strings of parking lot lamps buzzing like angry hornets. There he was, not 20 feet away, leaning on a rusted chain-link gate, hands shoved deep in his pockets. No escape this time. "Hey!" I called out, voice rougher than I meant, like I'd swallowed gravel. He straightened, slow, like he was savoring the moment, and pushed back the brim of his cap. Green eyes, sharp as new grass after rain, met mine without flinching. Up close, he was older than I'd guessed. Mid-20s, maybe, with a shadow of stubble that made him look like he'd wandered off a Patagonia ad, all rugged lines and quiet intensity. "Hey yourself," he replied, voice low and drawling. Pure South Texas twang wrapped in something smoother, like bourbon over ice. "Hell of a game tonight, Harlan." My name. He knew my name. The world tilted a fraction, the sodium glow of the lights blurring at the edges. "You a scout or something? 'Cause if you're here to recruit me for the dark side." He chuckled, a sound that rumbled warm in the cooling air, cutting me off. "Nah, just a fan. Name's Eli. Eli Navarro." He extended a hand, calloused and steady, the kind that spoke of manual labor, not desk jobs. I shook it, felt the spark jump like static from a wool blanket. Firm grip, lingering just a beat too long. "Jake," I said like he didn't know. "And, thanks for the support, I guess. You been comin' to a lot of these." Eli's smile deepened, crinkling the corners of his eyes. "Guilty. Saw you play in Little League back in San Antone. You were this scrawny kid with a cannon for an arm, diving for grounders like your life depended on it. Figured I'd see if you turned out half as good as I remembered." Little League. San Antonio. The words landed like puzzle pieces I hadn't known were missing. I'd grown up in the Alamo City, dirt lots and Ticarius, before Dad's job yanked us to Austin for high school. But faces from back then, blurred by time and the grind of survival. Mom working doubles at the hospital, me hustling odd jobs to buy new cleats. "Wait, you knew me? From Coach Ramirez's summer team." He nodded, shoving his hands back in his pockets, rocking on his heels. "Yeah, I was the catcher who dropped your fastball in the semis. Cost us the regional. Been regrettin' that ever since." His gaze dropped, then lifted again, holding mine with an honesty that made my throat tight. "Truth is, Jake, I moved back to Austin last year. Heard you were killin' it for the Horns. Thought it'd be good to watch someone chase a dream right." There it was, the hook sinking deeper. Not a stalker, not some random. A ghost from my past, materializing in the present like he'd been waiting all along. We talked for 20 minutes under those buzzing lights, about old teammates who'd washed out, the sting of that lost championship, the way the game's rhythm never really leaves you. He was a mechanic now, fixing rigs at a shop off I-35, lived in a shotgun house on the east side with a stray mutt named Slider. Easy words, flowing like we'd never lost touch. When he finally pushed off the gate, tipping his cap, I felt the pull, like a line drive you know is gone before it clears the wall. "See you at the next one?" he asked, already walking backward toward a shadow-blued Chevy pickup. "Yeah," I said, heart thudding against my ribs like a drum solo. "Yeah, you better." That night, in the sticky dark of my room, posters of Mantle and Ripken peeling at the edges, I lay awake staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. Eli Navarro. The name tasted like home, like the chalk dust of summer fields and the burn of stolen bases. But beneath the nostalgia simmered something sharper, something that scared me spitless. The way his laugh had lit a fuse in me, the kind that didn't fizzle but burned steady, illuminating corners I'd kept boarded up. Baseball had always been my safe harbor, the one place where labels didn't stick, where sweat and strategy drowned out the questions. But Eli? He was the storm rolling in, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to batten down the hatches or sail straight into it. The games blurred after that, a streak of orange and adrenaline, but Eli was the constant. The Astros cap in the 7th inning stretch, the quick nod when I'd glance his way during a pitching change. We'd fall into rhythm post-game, him waiting by the truck with a couple of Shiner Box pulled from a cooler in his bed, condensation beating cold on the glass. Conversations stretched longer each time. His divorce from a high school sweetheart who'd wanted kids and picket fences. My folks' quiet unraveling after Dad lost the warehouse gig to automation. "Life's a curveball, huh?" he'd say, clinking bottles, and I'd nod, the beer loosening the knots in my chest. One evening, after a rain-soaked doubleheader that left us 1-1 and mudcake to our souls, we ended up at Kirby Lane, the all-night diner off Guadalupe, fluorescent lights humming over formica tables sticky with syrup residue. The place was a campus staple. Pancakes at 2 a.m., waitresses calling you Han, like they meant it, and Eli fit right in, ordering migas like he'd grown up on them, which he had. "You ever think about what comes after?" he asked, forking into his plate, the steam rising like morning fog. His knee brushed mine under the table. Accidental, maybe, and I didn't pull away. "After baseball?" I shrugged, chasing a bite of my chicken fried steak with black coffee that tasted like regret. "Scouts say MLB draft if I keep my swing tight. Otherwise, coaching, maybe. Or back to the shop floor, like Dad." The words hung heavy, the fork midway to my mouth. "What about you? Mechanic forever?" Eli's eyes darkened, just a shade, like clouds skimming the moon. "Nah, used to dream bigger. Journalism back in community college. Wanted to tell stories, the real ones about folks getting ground down by the system. But," he trailed off, tracing the rim of his mug, "bills don't care about bylines. And after Maria left, it was easier to turn wrenches than chase ghosts." "Maria, the ex." I nodded, but my mind snagged on the vulnerability cracking his voice, the way it mirrored my own buried fears. We were both running from something. Me from the mirror that showed a guy too scared to name his truths. Him from a life that hadn't bent the way he'd hoped. The booth felt smaller, the air charged, and when our hands grazed reaching for the check, neither of us flinched. His fingers were warm, rough, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to that touch, electric and inevitable. Outside, the Austin night wrapped around us, humid and alive with distant traffic hum and the faint twang of live music spilling from 6th Street bars. We leaned against his truck, shoulders inches apart, the silence comfortable but laced with undercurrents. "Jake," he said finally, voice soft as the breeze rustling live oaks. "You know why I really started coming to your games?" I turned, heart slamming like a fastball into the mitt. His face was close, illuminated by the dash light spilling from the cab. Strong jaw, lips parted just enough to make my breath hitch. "Why?" "'Cause seeing you out there, it's like watching someone fight for what matters. Reminds me I could too." He swallowed, Adam's apple bobbing. "And maybe I wanted to fight for this. For us talking like this." The word landed like a home run, echoing in the empty lot. I could smell the rain on his skin, feel the heat radiating off him, and in that moment the walls I'd built, brick by careful brick, crumbled just a little. "Eli," I whispered, stepping closer, our breaths mingling. I think I'd like that." His hand found my arm, tentative at first, then sure, thumb tracing a path that sent shivers chasing down my spine. We didn't kiss. Not then, not in the diner's parking lot with the risk of headlights sweeping by, but it was there, hovering, a promise sealed in the space between us. For the first time, the ache in my chest felt less like drowning and more like coming up for air. But promises in the dark have a way of fracturing come daylight, and as we drove separate ways, me back to the sterile lines of my dorm, him to the quiet of his East Side rental, I couldn't shake the whisper of doubt. What if this was just another curveball? What if chasing it cost me everything I'd clawed to hold on to? The doubts didn't vanish with the morning light filtering through my blinds, turning the room gold and unforgiving. If anything, they sharpened, glinting like shards of glass underfoot. Practice that day was a grind. Coach barking orders in the relentless Texas sun. My throws sailing wild as my mind replayed Eli's words on loop. Fight for this. Fight for what exactly? A ghost from Little League who'd blossomed into something I wasn't sure I deserved? I spotted him at the Saturday series against Kansas, of course. Same spot, same cap, but this time with a sign propped against his knee. Harlan for Heisman. And oh, really? It was dumb, baseball not even having a Heisman. But the guy's catcalled from the dugout, and I felt heat crawl up my neck, half embarrassment, half thrill. We won 6-1. My 3-for-4 night including a two-bagger that plated the go-ahead run, and post-game, the ritual held. Shiner in hand, his truck idling like a patient beast. But tonight felt different. Charged. like the air before a thunderstorm rolls off the Gulf. We drove out to Barton Springs, the natural pool a black mirror under the stars, crickets chorusing from the cypress knees. No crowds here after dark, just the lap of water and the distant thump of bass from Zilker Park concerts. We sat on the limestone edge, feet dangling in the cool current, shirts off against the sticky heat. Mine a Longhorn's tee discarded in a heap, his hoodie unzipped to reveal a chest dusted with dark hair, lean muscle from wrenching engines all day. "Tell me something real," Eli said, skipping a pebble across the surface, ripples spreading like secrets. "What's the one thing you'd change about your life? If you could snap your fingers?" I leaned back on my elbows, the rock rough against my skin, staring up at the Milky Way smudged across the sky. Easy. I'd go back to senior year, that party at Ramirez's where I almost told my folks about me, who I am. The words tumbled out, unplanned, tasting like confession. I'd buried it deep. The fumbling kiss with a teammate at football camp, the panic that followed, the vows to get it together before college swallowed me whole. In Austin, with its progressive veneer, I tested the waters. A Grindr profile deleted after one awkward coffee, pride flags fluttering on Congress Avenue that felt more like scenery than sanctuary. Eli turned, his profile etched in moonlight, eyes searching mine. "And what did you tell him, Jake? That you're gay? That the world's not as straight as they raised you to believe?" He nodded, slow, like he'd walked that road himself. Maria knew, from the start, thought love could rewrite the script. His laugh was bitter, self-deprecating. "Spoiler, it can't. But coming out? That's not breaking anyone, Jake. It's breathing." His hand covered mine then, deliberate, fingers lacing through like they'd always belonged. The touch was fire and anchor, pulling me under and holding me afloat. We talked until the eastern sky blushed pink, about his first crush on the choir director in high school, the bar in San Antonio where he'd finally let himself dance without looking over his shoulder. Stories spilled like rain, washing away the grime of isolation, and when he leaned in, lips brushing mine tentative as a question, I answered with yes, 1,000 times over. That kiss, soft at first, then deepening with the hunger of years denied, tasted like spring water and shiner and home. His stubble rasped against my chin, hands framing my face like I was fragile, precious. We broke apart breathless, foreheads pressed, laughter bubbling up absurd and joyful. "Well," he murmured, thumb tracing my jaw, "that was worth every dropped fastball." From there, it snowballed, stolen moments woven into the fabric of my days. Coffee runs before dawn practice, his texts lighting up my phone during lectures. "Missin' that swing of yours already." Weekends at his place, a cozy chaos of mismatched furniture and Slider the dog's enthusiastic tail wags, where we'd cook carnitas from his abuela's recipe, the kitchen filling with cumin and laughter. Eli was a natural storyteller, spinning yarns about road trips gone wrong or the time he fixed a semi for a trucker who paid in tamales. He saw me, not just the Golden Glove shortstop, but the guy who cried during Field of Dreams reruns, who feared fading into obscurity more than striking out. And God, the romance of it all. The quiet poetry in how he'd show up with wildflowers snatched from roadside ditches, or how we'd drive out to Enchanted Rock at midnight, climbing the granite dome to watch the stars will overhead. His head on my shoulder as we named constellations we'd half invented. It felt like a John Hughes movie scripted for us. Earnest, aching, alive with possibility. For the first time, baseball wasn't the only rhythm pulsing through me. Eli was the backbeat, steady and sure, but cracks spiderwebbed in, subtle at first. A missed call during a travel series to Arkansas. Work ran late. Babe, rain check? Then 2 days of radio silence that left me staring at my phone like it held state secrets. When he finally surfaced, voice tight over the line, it was with apologies about a busted transmission on a fleet truck, overtime bleeding into exhaustion. I bought it because what else could I do? Love makes believers of us all. The real fracture came mid-May, with conference playoffs looming like storm clouds. We'd planned a low-key night at my dorm. Pizza from Via 313, a bootleg stream of an old Astros game, But Eli bailed last minute. Text Kurt. Can't make it. Family stuff. Family? He rarely mentioned them. A distant brother in Houston. Parents long gone to a car wreck when he was 15. I paced the narrow room, uneaten slices congealing on the wax paper. Ramirez shooting me pitying glances from his bunk. Dude, you look like someone kicked your puppy. What's the deal with Mystery Mechanic? He's not. I started, then deflated. It's complicated. Ramirez snorted, tossing a hacky sack my way. Complicated's code for, I'm in deep and scared shitless. Bill Harlan. We're family here. So I did, in fits and starts, the games, the talks, the kiss that had rewritten my stars. He listened, nodding, then clapped my shoulder hard enough to jar. Sounds like the real deal. But if he's ghostin', call it out. Game's about facing the pitch, right? Facing it. Yeah. The next game, a must-win against Tech. I scanned the fence line like a hawk. Empty. No cap, no sign, no green-eyed anchor. We lost 3-2 on a passed ball in the ninth, my error on a routine grounder sealing it. The crowd's grown a knife twist. Post-game, I texted, "Where you at? Need you." Crickets. 2 days later, he showed at my door unannounced, looking like hell warmed over. Dark circles under his eyes, jaw clenched tight. "Jake, we gotta talk." My stomach plummeted, the room spinning slow. "Yeah, we do." We sat on the edge of my bed, the space between us vast as the gulf. Eli stared at his boots, scuffed and caked with garage grime. That night I bailed? Wasn't family. It was Maria. She showed up at the shop, drunk, talking crazy about giving us another shot. Said she knew about. Somehow, the air sucked out of the room. Knew? How? Doesn't matter. His voice cracked, fists balling on his knees. She threatened to tell. Your coach, your folks, anyone who'd listen. Said it'd ruin you, the golden boy shortstop. He looked up then, eyes raw with something that looked a lot like shame. I told her to go to hell, but, Jake, she's got connections. Old money, Austin elite. If she wants to make noise. Betrayal hit like a beanball to the ribs. Not from her, but from the fragility of what we'd built. The world reminding us it wasn't ours to claim without cost. So what now? I whispered, anger and hurt tangling like cleats in a slide. You just vanish? Let her win. No. He reached for me, desperate, but I flinched. I love you, Jake. That's why I'm telling you. We fight smart. Lay low till playoffs end, then face it together. Love. The word pierced, sweet and savage. But laying low felt like surrender, like shoving our story back in the shadows. I nodded, numb, and when he left, the door click echoed like finality. That night, alone with the hum of the AC and the ghost of his scent, I wondered if love was enough to outrun the rain. Playoffs descended like a fever dream. White-knuckled bus rides to Arlington for regionals. The Globe Life field lights blazing harsh as interrogations. Every at-bat a referendum on my unraveling world. Eli kept his distance, true to the plan. No texts during games, quick check-ins after that read like telegrams. Proud of you. Hold the line. I wanted to hate it, the secrecy chafing like ill-fitted pads, but the wins piled up. 2 out of 3 against Florida, my glove vacuuming liners like magic, and part of me clung to the illusion of control. Off the field, though, the cracks widened. Whispers slithered through the team chat. Harlan's got a stalker ex or some shit. Saw a chick sniffin' around the lot. Ramirez shut it down, loyal as ever, but doubt festered. Was it Maria? Or worse? Had someone clocked Eli and me at Barton Springs? That night with the stars as witnesses? Austin prided itself on progress, rainbow crosswalks and all, but college sports? That was a minefield, one wrong step from scholarship limbo or worse. The super regional against LSU was the breaking point. We stole it in a 1-0 pitchers duel, my solo homer in the 8th the decider, the ball carrying like it had wings. The celebration was electric, foam sprays and chants of Sweet Caroline, warping into Texas fight. But as the bus rumbled back south on I-35, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, a photo attachment. Me and Eli, mid-kiss by the springs, Time-stamped from weeks ago. Caption: choose wisely, golden boy, or everyone knows. My blood turned to ice water. Maria, or whoever held the strings, had played her hand. I deleted it, hands shaking, but the image burned behind my eyes. A blackmail Polaroid from hell. I didn't tell Eli. What good would it do? Instead, I drove straight to his place after unloading gear. The east side streets a blur of precarious glowing neon and murals of Aztec warriors watching impassive. He opened the door in sweatpants and a wife-beater. Slider yapping at his ankles. Surprise melting into concern at my face. Jake? What's? I shoved the phone at him, the photo resurrected from my trash. His expression crumpled, color draining like sand through fingers. Shit. How'd she? Doesn't matter. I paced the living room, the space too small for the storm in my chest. This ends now, Eli, before it tanks everything. My spot on the team, the draft, my family. The words clawed out, venomous and untrue, but fear spoke louder than love. He stepped close, hands up like calming a spooked horse. Whoa, hold on. We don't run from this. We go public. Tell coach your folks on your terms. Rip the Band-Aid. On my terms. I laughed, sharp and hollow. You think that's how it works? One viral tweet and I'm the poster boy for woke sports? Or the punchline, the queer kid who couldn't hack it. Tears pricked, hot and unwelcome. I can't lose this, Eli. Baseball's all I've got. His face hardened, hurt flashing like lightning. And what about us? Am I just the side hustle till the pros call? He raked a hand through his hair, voice rising. I thought we were buildin' something real, Jake. Not hidin' like it's 1950. The accusation landed true, shaming me silent. He was right. I dipped a toe in, tasted the freedom, then yanked back when the current pulled too strong. I'm scared, I admitted finally, sinking onto the sagging couch, head in hands. Of losing you. Of losing me. Eli knelt before me, hands on my knees, green eyes fierce with the love I'd almost forgotten. Then don't. We're stronger together. Maria's bluffin'. She's got her own skeletons. Let me handle her. We hashed it out till dawn, Slider snoring at our feet. A fragile truce forged in coffee and compromise. I'd talk to Ramirez for backup. He'd confront Maria with a lawyer friend from the shop. No more shadows. As the sun crested, painting the room in hesitant light, he pulled me close, kiss sealing the pact. Desperate, reaffirming, a lifeline in the gale. But fate, that cruel umpire, had other calls. 2 days later, during finals week crunch, organic chem notes blurring with lineup cards. The team got summoned to coach's office en masse. The air reeked of stale Gatorade and tension. Wooden chairs creaking under our weight as he paced. Face thunderous. A tablet clutched like evidence. Gentlemen, he growled, Texas drawl thick as molasses. We got a problem. Some busybody's been shopping dirt to the Austin American-Statesman. Photos of one of our own. His eyes flicked to me, heavy with something unreadable. Disappointment? Pity? Harlan? This about you? The room froze, teammates shifting like I'd dropped a live grenade. My mouth went desert dry, pulse roaring in my ears. Coach, save it. He slid the tablet across the desk. The same photo, now screenshotted in an email chain. Anonymous sender demanding discretion or the story breaks. Maria's handiwork, clear as day. University's got PR on it, but this could torpedo your seasons. Hell, the program's rep. You got anything to say before I bench you indefinite? Betrayal surged, not just from her, but from the system. From the man who'd preached team first, now eyeing me like damaged goods. I stood, legs leaden. Yeah, it's true. Eli, he's my boyfriend. And I'm gay. Been hiding it, 'cause I thought it'd cost me everything. The confession ripped free, raw and ragged, the silence swallowing it whole. Ramirez nodded subtle support. Others stared, jaws slack. Coach exhaled, long and ragged, rubbing his neck. Jesus, kid. Shoulda said something sooner. He glanced at the team, voice steadying. This family's got no room for bigots. We rally round Harlan on and off the field. Anyone got a problem? Doors that way. Murmurs rippled, shock, then solidarity. A chorus of "We got you." Jake, breaking the ice. Tears blurred my vision as I nodded thanks. The weight lifting fractional. Like shedding soaked uni after a rain delay. But victory tasted bittersweet. Maria's poison had spread, and as I filed out, Coach pulled me aside. Draft dreams? Might take a hit, but real men face the heat. You gonna? I am, I said, meaning it, for the first time. Word exploded campus-wide by noon. Texts from strangers, pride allies sliding into my DMs, a few ugly trolls that Ramirez blocked with glee. Eli met me at the Union, face pale but determined, wrapping me in a hug that defied the gawking undergrads. Heard. You okay? Better than okay. I kissed him quick, public and unapologetic, the world be damned. We're okay. But the storm wasn't spent. That night, as we crashed at his place, takeout tie scattered on the coffee table, Slider begging for scraps. My phone rang. Mom, Austin area code a beacon in the dark. I answered, heart in throat. Jacob. Her voice trembled, laced with that Baptist steel. The paper. They called Dad at work. Is it true? About that boy? I glanced at Eli, curled beside me, thumb tracing idle patterns on my hand. Yeah, Mom. It's true. I love him. Silence stretched, eternal. Then a sob, hers, raw and breaking. Oh, honey, we love you. Always. Come home tomorrow. We talk. As a family. Relief crashed over me, tidal and cleansing. No disownment, no fire and brimstone. Just love, messy and human. We hung up planning breakfast at Kirby Lane, the diner where it all began to shift. Yet even in the glow, shadows lingered. Maria texted Eli at 2 a.m. You think this ends it? Watch your back. Vague threat, but enough to knot my gut. Still, with playoffs finals against Stanford looming, Omaha's College World Series a heartbeat away, we pushed forward, Eli my talisman in the stands. Cap traded for a Longhorns one-eyed snuck him. The series was epic. Extra inning marathons under Nebraska skies, my bat singing, glove a blur. We clinched 4-2 in Game 3. The dog pile on the diamond, a frenzy of joy and salt sweat hugs. ESPN crews swarmed post-game. Mike's thrusting. Jake, how's it feel? Coming out mid-run? Changed the game. Always changes the game, I said, arm around Eli who joined on field, the crowd roaring approval. But love? That's the real MVP. Confetti rained. Cameras flashed. But in the chaos, Eli's whisper cut through. Proud as hell, Harlan. America watched. Headlines from Sports Illustrated to the New York Times. The shortstop who stole hearts. Sponsors called. Pride orgs offered platforms. But the Real win was quieter. Dad's gruff attaboy over steak dinner. Mom's tentative questions evolving into stories of her own college curiosities. Eli and I settled into rhythm. Him interviewing for that journalism gig at the Statesman. Me eyeing minor league ball with eyes wide open. Maria? She faded. A cease and desist from Eli's lawyer friend quelling the noise. Her threats dissolving into the ether of petty vendettas. Turns out, her connections were more bluff than blue blood. And karma's a patient pitcher. Summer settled soft over Austin. Games giving way to pick up softball in Zilker. Evenings on Eli's porch with Shiner and Slider at our feet. We'd talk dreams again. His bylines exposing labor injustices. Mine coaching inner-city kids with gloves borrowed from the shop. No more hiding. Just us, building a life pitch by pitch. One August night, fireflies dancing like errant pop flies. Eli turned to me, ring box simple as a fastball. Marry me, Jake? Let's make it official. Till the last out. I said yes, tears and all, the yes that started it all echoing back. In the end, he hadn't just shown up at my games. He'd shown me how to play the biggest one. For my heart, unapologetic and true. Rewind. After the coming out, things seemed golden. But then the real betrayal hits. Eli had known about Maria's threat earlier. Had even met her secretly to protect Jake. But it backfired, making Jake feel manipulated. Yes. So, continuing seamlessly. The glow of Omaha lingered like afterimages on a batter's retina. Blurry, brilliant, impossible to shake. Back in Austin, the campus buzzed with my name, not just for the series MVP nod but for the Harlan effect, as some sports blog dubbed it. A surge in LGBTQ plus ticket sales, panel invites from GLAAD, even a spot on Good Morning America where I fumbled through talking vulnerability without puking on air. Eli was my rock through it, fielding calls with that easy grin, whispering "you're killing it" during commercial breaks. Life normalized, or as normal as it gets when your boyfriend's suddenly the face of queer athletics and your mailbox overflows with fan mail ranging from heartfelt to unhinged. We moved in together that fall. His East Side rental traded for a one-bedroom near the stadium, close enough for pre-dawn jogs to Shipe Park, Slider's domain of squirrels and shade trees. Mornings were ritual. Him brewing cafecito strong as regret, me sketching lineup cards over toast, our knees bumping under the thrift store table like Morse code for content. But beneath the domestic hum, fissures formed, subtle as a hanging curve. Eli's new gig at the Statesman kept him late, chasing leads on City Hall corruption, his texts delayed, stuck at the courthouse. "Love you," I'd nod, understanding, but the empty evenings nod, filled with pickup games at local fields where I'd overswing, frustration cracking my form. The first real storm brewed over Labor Day weekend, a backyard barbecue at Ramirez's, burgers charring on the grill, kids shrieking through slip-and-slides, the air thick with charcoal and Coors Light. Eli fit seamless, trading barbs with the guys about his Astros allegiance, but I caught the glances. Coach's wife pulling him aside for a word, a booster dad clapping his shoulder too hard, murmuring about image. By the bonfire's crackle, as stories looped and laughter peaked, Eli's phone buzzed insistent. He stepped away, voice low, then returned with a tightness around his eyes I knew too well. "Everything good?" I asked, passing him a beer, the label slick with condensation. "Yeah, just work." He clinked bottles, but the evasion lingered, sour as flat hops. Later, driving home with windows down, Willie Nelson crooning "On the Road Again" from the radio, I pressed. "That call. Who was it?" He sighed, hand drumming the wheel. "Maria. Again. She's in rehab reaching out. Wants closure or some bullshit." My grip tightened on the door handle, old wounds throbbing. "Closure? After the photos, the threats? Tell her to write a letter." I did. His tone sharpened, defensive. "But she's clean now, Jake. Says she regrets it. Part of me, I don't know, feels sorry." Sorry. The word ignited something primal. Jealousy? Hurt? Sorry enough to risk us? What if this is round two? It's not. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away, the cab filling with static. "Trust me. Okay? We're solid." Were we, that night, tangled in sheets that smelled of him, motor oil and sandalwood? I lay awake, staring at the ceiling fan's whirl, doubt a low hum matching its blades. Trust was the pitch you called blind. What if he'd swung and missed? The unraveling accelerated in October, leaves turning copper underfoot as I prepped for pro tryouts. Velocity drills till my shoulder screamed, film sessions dissecting every flaw. Eli's hours stretched, dinner cold by the time he'd stumble in, laptop bags slung heavy. One night, I waited up, the clock ticking past midnight, and when he slipped in, I was on the couch, photo album from Little League open on my lap, faded Polaroids of scrawny me, grinning gap-toothed beside a catcher with Eli's eyes. "Nostalgia trip?" he teased, dropping a kiss on my forehead. But I caught the flinch, the way his gaze skittered. "Something like that." I flipped to a shot of us post-game, arms slung, innocent as apple pie. "Found this in your glove box. Why hide it?" He froze, then sank beside me, rubbing his neck. "Didn't hide. Just forgot." Liar. The accusation slipped out, soft but steel-edged. "You've been off since the barbecue. Talk to me, Eli. For real." He exhaled, long and defeated, head tipping back against the cushions. "All right, Maria's not just reaching out. She's been comin' to the office, beggin' for a feature redemption arc for some women's mag. I turned her down, but she showed me letters from her therapist, saying how the divorce broke her, how finding out about us pushed her over. And my voice cracked, the album sliding to the floor. And I met her once. Coffee, neutral ground. Thought if I heard her out, it'd close the door for good. Protect you from more fallout. Met her. The betrayal bloomed slow, then exploded, hot, visceral. You what? Without telling me? I surged to my feet, pacing the rug's frayed edges. After everything, her poison in the well, nearly tanking my career. You sit down for lattes like it's therapy hour? It was to end it. He stood 2 hands out, pleading. She swore it was the last time. Said if I listened, she'd sign the NDA, vanish. But you didn't believe her. Or us. Tears burned, furious and futile. You chose pity over partnership. What else you hidin', Eli? More coffee dates to protect me. His face crumpled, the fight draining like air from a flat. Jake, no. I love you, God, more than anything. This was stupid, I see that now. But I was scared. Scared she'd drag you down again. Scared. I barked a laugh bitter as bile. I'm the one who came out, Eli. Faced the headlines, the hate mail, coach's side-eye. You're the shadow, the safe one. And now this. The argument spiraled, words weaponized. His accusations of my obsession with the draft blinding me to real life. My retorts about his savior complex sabotaging us both. Slider whined from the bedroom, sensing the rift. But we raged on till voices hoarsed, collapsing into exhausted silence on opposite ends of the couch. I'm sorry, he whispered finally, the words small in the dark. Let me fix it. But fixes in love aren't swing adjustments. They're rebuilds, and as dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, I wondered if the damage ran too deep. The fallout fractured everything. Tryouts loomed. A showcase in Houston, scouts from every org circling like vultures. And I threw myself into it, reps till my arm hung like wet spaghetti, ignoring Eli's texts that piled up unanswered. Talk to me, please. He moved out temporary, crashing at a buddy's garage apartment, the house echoing with his absence. Slider's confused yips the only company. Ramirez staged an intervention over Whataburger taquitos, ketchup packets exploding like minor blasts. Bro, you're a ghost. This thing with Navarro, it's eaten you. Spill. I did, the coffee meeting laid bare, the trust shredded. He nodded, sucking honey butter from his thumb. Sounds like he fucked up royal. But love's not a clean double. It's foul tips and errors. You gonna let one bad hop end the inning? His words stuck, burrowing as I drove to Houston for the showcase. The interstate a ribbon of regret under rain-slicked tires. The field was pro-caliber, AstroTurf gleaming, radar guns whirring, and I performed solid. 92 miles per hour heat, tight curves, a 4-for-6 BP round that drew nods from the Rangers area guy. But off-field, the emptiness gnawed. No Eli in the stands. No post-game debrief over Whataburger runs. A call came midweek, post-draft buzz, mid-second round projection, contingent on off-field stability. Stability. Code for keep your personal shit locked down. The irony burned. Coming out had opened doors. But this slammed them. I confronted Eli at the shop, grease monkeys banging away in the bays, the air metallic with oil and ozone. He emerged from under a hood, wiping hands on a rag, eyes lighting then dimming at my expression. Jake, you came. We need to end this. For good. The words gutted me, but I forced them out, arms crossed like armor. Your protection nearly cost me the dream. I can't. I won't risk more. His face ashed, the rag twisting in his fists. Don't do this. I ended it with her, blocked, lawyers involved. It was a mistake, but you're my everything. Everything. I stepped closer, voice low to dodge the crew's ears. Then why'd you lie? Why make me feel like the fragile one who needs Savon? Because I am fragile, he admitted, voice cracking. Losing you? That's the real threat. Maria was a ghost. You're my future. The plea hung, tempting as a hanging slider. Scouts' voices echoed in my head, stability, image, but Ramirez's too. Errors happen. I turned, throat tight. I need time. Alone. He nodded, broken but unbroken. Take it. I'll wait. But waiting's a solitary game, and as fall deepened, leaves carpeting the diamond in crimson defeat, I wrestled alone. Therapy sessions with a campus counselor who unpacked the fear I'd carried since Little League. Pickup games where every catch felt like catching my breath. Eli respected the space, a single text monthly. Thinking of you. No pressure. Christmas came cruel. Family dinner at the folks. Mom's tamales steaming. Dad's awkward pats on the back. Toasts to our brave boy. They asked about Eli, gentle, and I deflected with half-truths. The hole in my chest aching fresh. New Year's, I cracked. Texted him at midnight, confetti virtual. Miss you. Coffee? We met at Kirby Lane, the booth our old haunt, pancakes a peace offering. He looked worn, stubble thicker, eyes shadowed, but his smile bloomed real when I slid in opposite. Hey, stranger. Hey! Awkward beats, then laughter, tentative. We talked surface first, his exposé on mechanic wages landing front page, my draft stock holding steady, then deeper, apologies layered like batter. I was wrong, he said, syrup dripping forgotten. Shoulda trusted us over her. And I was wrong to shut you out. I reached across, hand finding his. Scared I'd lose the game. But you're the win. Forgiveness isn't linear. Bumps lingered, therapy joint now. Maria a faded scar when she emailed contrite. Ignored. Spring training called. Minors in Frisco. But Eli came weekends, his byline chasing me north. Our life a road trip with no end. The betrayal had scarred, but scars toughen hide. Make you swing truer. And in the quiet, with his head on my pillow, Slider snoring at the foot, I knew. He'd shown up not just at games, but for the long haul. The coincidences woven into fate. Love the ultimate closer. No, still not tragic enough for option. The prompt allows happy or tragic humanistic. But to add depth, perhaps a bittersweet. Jake makes the majors, but Eli's career takes him away. They part with love intact, humanistic growth. But the title suggests realization of more than coincidence. Positive. To fit betrayal and climax, let's have the climax be a major conflict where Eli betrays by leaking a story for his career, but it's to help Jake. Climax. During draft, a scandal hits, rumors of Jake using PEDs, planted by a rival scout jealous of his coming-out story. Eli, investigating for his paper, uncovers it's Maria again, but to break the story, he has to reveal a secret Jake told him in confidence. Something from childhood, like Jake's dad was abusive or something, to humanize. No, too dark. Better. Eli had been the one to initially tell Maria about Jake, in a moment of weakness during their coffee, to get her to back off, but it backfired. Earlier I had him meeting her. Let's build to climax. Continuing. The reconciliation held, fragile as green wood, but we nurtured it. Date nights at the Continental Club, two-stepping to steel guitar twang, his hand warm at my waist. Lazy Sundays tossing a ball in the yard, Slider fetching with gleeful abandon. Spring semester flew, my senior year a victory lap. .342 average, Gold Glove whispers, and Eli's presence a constant. His articles now featuring sidebars on queer athletes breaking barriers, my name in bold. Draft day dawned June heat. The apartment a war zone of nerves. Takeout boxes from Torchy's piled high. TV tuned to MLB Network. Slider pacing like he had skin in the game. Eli hovered. Foot rub offered. Pep talks laced with, "You've earned this, babe." The room shrank as rounds ticked. First gone to power bats, second to polished arms. By the third, my name hadn't dropped. Scouts' murmurs from Houston echoing. Harlan's hot, but that off-field drama. Drama. The word soured my gut. We'd thought it buried, but doubt crept. A base stealer off first. Then, the bombshell mid-third round. As the Astros, Eli's traitorous favorites, stepped to the mic. A cheerin' flashed. Breaking. Texas shortstop Jake Harlan linked to gambling ring probe. The room tilted, Eli's hand going slack in mine. My name scrolling with footage of me at a casino fundraiser. Innocent team bonding, but twisted now into suspicious activity. What the fuck? I breathed, remote clattering to the floor. The anchor droned. Sources close to the program allege Harlan placed bets on Longhorn games, compromising integrity. NCAA investigating. Eli surged up, phone already out. This is bullshit. You weren't. I know. Panic clawed. Visions of vacated stats. Draft freefall. Who? Maria again. Worse. Eli's face blanched as his phone lit with a text. From his editor. Story confirms Harlan bet on own team. Tip from ex-wife contact. You vouch? Ex-wife. Maria. But the tip, how? Eli's eyes met mine. Guilt tsunami slow. Jake. During that coffee. She pressed. Said she'd drop the photos if I gave her something juicy for her blog. I mentioned the fundraiser. Offhand. Like it was nothing. Swore it was ancient history. The revelation hit like a 100 miles per hour sinker to the chest, betrayal, pure and premeditated. You fed her the ammo? To protect me? Laughter hysterical, edged with hysteria. That's what did it, your protection again. He recoiled, as if slapped. I thought it'd satisfy her. She promised. Promises from her mean Jack. I roared, surging to face him, inches apart, slider retreating to the kitchen. You handed her the knife, Eli, and now, my career's bleedin' out because of it. Tears tracked his cheeks, but anger flared back. I was trying to shield you. From the photos, the coming out fallout twistin' into scandal. You think I wanted this? You wanted the hero complex. The dam broke, confidence is spilling. My fears of inadequacy, his of stagnation, the coffee a symptom of deeper rot. Every time you decide what's best. Like I'm the kid you caught for in Little League, not your equal. He deflated, sinking to the couch, head in hands. Maybe you're right. I don't know how to love without fixin'. The draft resumed. My name unsaid as rounds bled into night. The probe a scarlet letter. I stormed out, driving aimless through Austin's neon veins. 6th Street bars pulsing. The Capitol dome ghostly white. Ending at the empty stadium, chain link rattling under my fists. The diamond, my sanctuary, mocked now, ghosts of hooks and hooks past. Hours later, Eli found me there, dawn breaking pink over the horizon. Jake, please. I turned, spent, the fight leached. It's over. The draft, us, all of it. No. He stepped close, voice fierce. The probe's crap fundraiser was public. No bets. My editor's killin' the story. I told him it's fabricated. And Maria? I recorded the coffee meet. Evidence. She's done. Recorded. The twist stunned. Anger fracturing into awe. You. Why didn't you say? Thought it'd hurt more. But I kept it for this. For us. He pulled a thumb drive from his pocket. Small as a promise. Fight with me, Jake. Not against. The climax crested then. Not in screams, but surrender. I pulled him close, sobs racking us both under the rising sun. The field witness to our rawest hour. Betrayal had cut deep, but truth cauterized, leaving scars that mapped our growth. The probe cleared by July. Fundraiser vetted. Maria's tip exposed as vengeance, her facing defamation heat. The draft reconvened supplemental, Astros calling my name in round 4, irony sweet as Shiner. Eli's story broke parallel. The ex who wouldn't quit, his byline a shield, catapulting his career. We healed slow, counseling, boundaries etched like foul lines. No more solo fixes. Decisions diamond shared. Fall brought balance. Me in Frisco, grinding minors, him commuting for statesman scoops. Weekends in our Austin nest. One night, post a 545 tier, we climbed Enchanted Rock again. Stars carpet overhead. Remember the first kiss here? He murmured, head on my chest. Like yesterday, I kissed his temple. And every day's been more than coincidence. It's choice. Humanistic end. We chose daily, love over fear, the game of us eternal, no final out.